What are your goals for this track and field program over the course of the next 1, 3, 5 years?
Well, right now we got to develop the roster that we have. You know, we got a great group of kids that are working their tails off for us. And you can see improvement already in a month. It's been absolutely awesome because change can be difficult for current student athletes. And these kids they're giving it their all for us, which is great. You know, and then from there though, it's recruiting, continuing to bring in quality student athletes, both on the track and in the classroom, that can just help continue to elevate the program. We got a bunch this week and this weekend, and the staff is getting after it.
K-State family, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Cats Talk, hosted by Wildcat NIL. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Be sure to like, comment, or subscribe wherever you find your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Please also follow us on social media. Your support makes it so we can continue to put out these podcast episodes. If you're looking for more information on NIL, please visit www.catsnil.com. Thanks for your support, and go Cats. Hey K-State family, welcome to this episode of Cats Talk, hosted by Wildcat NIL. I'm your host, Curry Sexton. On this podcast, we will bring you the most influential people at K-State. For this episode, we're excited to be joined by the new director of track and field at Kansas State, Travis Geopfert. Coach Geopfert, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, man. I'm pumped to be here.
I know you've had a crazy summer that included a trip to Paris and probably a lot of other trips across the globe. How has your short time in Manhattan been thus far?
It's been awesome. It really has. The family's settled in. Kids are moved here. We got a house. Kids are in Rock Creek School District, and yeah, we've hit the ground running. Oh man, it's been busy.
Awesome. So you obviously you got hired in July. Was it July when you got hired officially?
Yep, middle of July.
So you're the associate head coach or head track and field director at Arkansas, a powerhouse in that sport. What was the process like for you being courted by K-State? What did that look like?
Yeah, it was interesting. So Coach Kleiman had reached out first. Him and I knew each other at Northern Iowa, and I've always been a big fan of his. And so a little bit of behind the scenes K-State football fan the last 6 years as well. And he had reached out and asked if I was interested in the job, and I said I would listen. And Gene Taylor took it from there, and they recruited well, and we fell in love with Manhattan and the community and the facilities and everything about it, and here we are.
That's awesome. It's crazy. When I heard that story about Coach Kleiman playing a role in that, it's amazing to hear stuff like that, and obviously we're thankful that he was able to make that connection to you and to your staff. So I was able to attend your opening press conference, and you had your whole staff sort of in a half circle in front of the backdrop, and I thought what you did in going around and just talking about each one of them was super cool. But what was even more impressive was the caliber of track people, track backgrounds that you've brought to Kansas State. Tell us about the staff that you've been able to bring here to K-State and what that means to the future of this program.
Oh, it's just been phenomenal. You know, we have 8 other people besides myself on staff, and so it takes a village, with 100 athletes out there with men's and women's track and field and cross country. But it's an awesome staff. Associate head coach John Newell just had a national champion in the women's discus this last year when he was at Vanderbilt. He played a major role in the Olympic gold medal discus thrower Roger Stoner, who was one of our guys at Arkansas, set the Olympic record. And so unbelievable coach. Then other Olympians on the staff. Kip Jambrin was a mentor for me. We pulled him away from Central Missouri. Been there for 36 years. Clive Pullen was an Olympic triple jumper for me in 2016, so we pulled him away from Kansas, which was pretty awesome. Tara Davis Woodhull, Olympian, gold medalist, everything that she's been able to do, coming up here to Manhattan with us. Matt Clark was our strength coach at Arkansas. I coached him in college in Northern Iowa. And that dude, he's been the strength coach at Arkansas for 12 years. And between the World Championships and Olympic Games, that dude has coached 41 medalists. 41 medalists.
Unbelievable.
It's been amazing. And then Kate Bucknam, our cross country coach, known her since she was 5 years old. Just an awesome coach and doing a great job. And Trey Brokaw, our assistant cross country coach, a recruiting machine.
Is he the one from New Zealand?
No.
Okay.
The Chris Goodwin is the one from New Zealand.
Okay.
So he's also a recruiting machine.
Okay.
He throws that accent out there.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. So I wasn't sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Clive Pullen, I'm fascinated by his story because you mentioned it at your press conference. Clive was the first Olympic medalist jumper for Jamaica in how many years?
Yeah, so there hadn't been an Olympic triple jumper for Jamaica that had met the Olympic standard in 44 years. And in 2016, he did it.
Yeah.
And so he's a trailblazer in every way. And you look at it since then, there's been a number of medalists. And, we've been fortunate to coach a bunch of them from Jamaica. But he was a trailblazer that really got that party started for the last 8 years.
You think about what Jamaica does in every Summer Olympics games, and to think that they didn't have an Olympic jumper for 44 years is really mind blowing. So really cool to have Clive at K-State and to have his background here. So obviously we talked a little bit about you ran track, or you were on the track and field team at Northern Iowa. You've been a coach for all of 20 something years. And now we just talked about your staff. When you're going through that phase of, assistant coach up to associate head coach, are you building out in your mind, are you building out a staff of saying, man, when I get my opportunity, here's my first 5 or 10 calls? Is that something that you do?
It's funny when Gene and I and Kenny were talking on the interview, he's like, hey, do you have kind of an idea who you want to hire? And it was, I did, and I told him, I know exactly who I want to hire. And once I accepted the job, it was really cool. As I accepted the job, I think on a Monday, and the following Sunday, we had the entire staff and all our families on campus at the same time.
Amazing.
It was
amazing.
It was awesome.
That seems, really cool. That seems rare in the collegiate landscape, especially when you're talking about the people that you brought here. So impressive work. I know that we don't give track and field the same love that we maybe give our football program here, but I know that I'm really excited about what you guys are going to do for the track and field program, and think that you guys can put us on a national level, which I think is exciting.
Appreciate
so. We talked, we've touched a little bit on your career, and you have as decorated a coaching career as I'm sure basically anybody. At the collegiate level, I think reading your bio, you've coached 3 Bowerman Award finalists, which is track and field's version of the Heisman. 2 of them won. You've trained more than 20 national champions and 106 first team All-Americans. Obviously, that's an incredible resume. What do you attribute to your level of success as a coach and helping other people be super successful at their craft?
Wow, that's a great question. I've been really fortunate in my career to be mentored by some amazing coaches, and it's funny when Cooper was here talking, and he talked about being coachable, right? And I like to think of myself as being coachable, and so I took that mentorship seriously throughout my entire 20-some years of coaching, and have learned a lot from a lot of other people, and just applied it. Been fortunate to recruit some great athletes, and a number of athletes that they bought in, and a lot of Olympians, a lot of national champions, and along the way too, Curry, I've learned from those athletes. I think as a coach, you got to listen, and figure out what works for a kid, and so year after year, you continue to learn and develop, and success breeds success, I guess.
So you mentioned Olympians, and I think you've coached 15 Olympians, 1 Paralympian. How special is it to be involved with athletes of that caliber? You talk about the Olympics. It comes around every 4 years. Yeah. Some athletes have one opportunity. How cool is it to be involved with that and to be involved with Olympians who go on to have a high level of success?
It's intense. It is absolutely. I was in Paris for 3 weeks or whatever it was, but we had 9 athletes over there that I was fortunate to coach, and it's this emotional roller coaster. You get this lifetime of emotions, in 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
You know, with both success and failure, if you want to call it that. You know, I think what's really, really cool with all of those athletes, they all expected to medal. And so that championship mindset, that gravitation towards excellence, like it's incredible to be around people like that. You know, I was a B-level athlete myself, and to see them do what they do and to walk out on the biggest stage in sport and have no fear. It's just that I love that mindset of it. I think it's just awesome.
You think about Tara, and obviously, you know, she's become a huge, I mean, she's an icon, and you know, globally, but she's become a huge favorite in Manhattan already.
Yeah.
And you think about, you know, you mentioned the intense nature of that 3-week period. I mean, she has to go through multiple phases of you know, performing well enough to move on, and okay, now we're in the finals, and now we have to perform at our absolute best so we can win this gold medal. And so I think the ability to do that time and time again is not something that you see in that context anywhere in any other way in any other sport.
Yeah.
So just unbelievable that you've been a part of that. Now, obviously, Tara, you know, you've had an opportunity to coach her. She won a gold medal this year in the Olympics. You've had an opportunity to coach her husband, Hunter, who won a gold in the Paralympics this year. Both of them, I think, are helping on the staff here in some capacity.
Yeah.
Tell us about your relationship with those two, how you've gotten to the point now of coaching them to gold medals and also bringing them to Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah. You know, honestly, the two of them, I'm going to give them a ton of credit too for us coming here to Kansas State. I mentioned it to them like, hey, I'm strongly considering this Kansas State job. And without any hesitation, they said, I guess we're moving to Manhattan. And I'm like, wow. Like,
it was easy.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And their support, you know, meant the world to me. And all the athletes that I coached, like all of them, like, coach, you deserve this opportunity. We're proud of you. And all those athletes that I coached, it's a little bit emotional for me, you know, because it's a big change in all of our lives, and to have that support from all of them was just amazing. And obviously the group moving up here and Hunter and Tara leading the way, and it's just they're an awesome group of people to be around, that's for sure.
So I think it says a lot about you to be able to attract that level of track person to Manhattan, Kansas in such a short time. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, having been around sports my whole life, you don't get that type of person to come if they don't believe in who you are and in the program that you're going to establish here. So I think that says a lot about you, which is awesome. As a K-Stater, that's huge. Now, we've talked, you know, obviously about Hunter and Tara, who they are. They're global icons. I mean, they are individually and jointly, they are absolute global icons. So how for the future of the Kansas State track and field program, how significant is it for those two to be on your staff?
Well, it's huge. You know, from a recruiting perspective, you know, you look at the best in the world who have chosen to come and be in Manhattan, Kansas. And so for them to set the stage, and for other athletes looking at, all right, where am I going to go in the world to train? And I honestly think we have the best setup in the world. I really do. I think we have the athletes here that can show these student athletes coming in what it takes. We have the facilities. You know, what our administration is built, and Coach Revelto, you know, Hall of Fame coach here at Kansas State for 36 years, I think. I mean, what they built with those facilities, with the indoor and outdoor track directly adjacent to each other, it is absolutely world class. So I appreciate the compliment on me attracting the talent, but Manhattan and Kansas State has also attracted the talent. Like, it is here, you know, and there's some stuff we want to finish on the indoor track, and I think we're moving that direction, and I'm stoked about it, man.
We'll dive deeper into this conversation after the break, but before then, I want to tell you about our good friends at Home Field Apparel. Get on over to homefieldapparel.com and get your hands on some of Home Field's K-State selection of over 40 items that are thoughtfully created by Home Field's team. I personally have several pieces from their K-State selection, and I'm wearing my favorite Home Field sweatshirt today, featuring an old school Willie the Wildcat. Home Field Apparel is incredibly high quality and comfortable apparel. And there's something for everybody at homefieldapparel.com. Be sure to use the promo code CATSNIL24 when you check out to get 10% off your order. And when you use that promo code, Homefield will donate 10% of your order back to Wildcat NIL so we can support K-State student athletes. Again, get on over to homefieldapparel.com today and use the promo code CATSNIL24.
That's awesome. And I was also, again, I'm a football guy, so hearing you talk about at your press conference, hearing you talk about our facilities and how you feel like truly we have the best or some of the best facilities in the nation was fairly alarming for me to hear. And I think for somebody who doesn't, I used to practice in that indoor, so I know what it used to look like and smell like. And then to go in there and see it, you're like, man, this is impressive. Yeah. And so for the K-State fan who doesn't know what has been built down in the old football indoor, talk a little bit about that. And then you mentioned wanting to make a couple more changes, I think, which I know will elevate this program even more. Talk about what you have in mind for that.
Yeah. Well, the indoor track now, the way they've designed it, it's a 200-meter bank track that's absolutely world class. It's a Mondo facility. So Mondo from Italy came over and built it here. And it's just, they did it so first class. What Gene and Kenny and Jill and the entire administration and Jason and they just did an unbelievable job. Absolutely world class. And then, we look at what we want to do in phase 2, and that's to finish it. And that's to finish it to host world-class track meets. It's the best training facility in the world right now, and now we want to make it the best competition facility in the world. And I think we can do that with seats and restrooms and zoned lighting and to create an atmosphere to showcase our sport because we can put on a show. And we've got some of the best athletes in the world right here, and I want the K-State fans to be able to come watch them.
Absolutely. And I think you said, somebody talked about this, it was you or Gene talked about the fact that it at least in reference to the Big 12 conference, to host the Big 12 tournament, you have to have a certain seating capacity.
Yep.
And we don't have that right now.
Yep.
So obviously that's a piece of it too, right?
Yeah.
To being able to host that type of an event.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. We're all competitive, right?
Of course.
And so we had the Big 12 head coaches meeting, and I'm trying not to talk too much.
Trying to fill your way in.
Yeah, but there was conversation of what you have to host the Big 12 meet, and there's just, I don't want to call it pushback, but Kansas State, you're not ready to host the Big 12 meet, and it fired me up. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna get there.
We'll be there.
we're gonna get there fast. So.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I know that you may not know this stat, but we're it's not such a positive stat, but we're one of like two or three Power 5 schools in the country without a national championship.
Yeah.
And so I was telling some of the guys the other day, I'm like, obviously things are difficult because of the balance of power, especially at football and basketball. Yep. But in track and field, with these facilities and with your staff, to me it seems like we've got an opportunity here. We've got an opportunity to be nationally relevant year over year. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And the vision for that from the administration, I can't express how much I appreciate it. And the investment in track and field, of course, facilities, human resources, all of it. And I do think we have what we need to be nationally prominent program. And I'm not so bold as to like, we're going to win a national title. Phil guarantees that's not my style.
Yeah.
But our style as a staff is to say, we sure as hell are going to try. And we're going to get after it.
Yeah.
And we're excited about the process of it and seeing what we can do.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see the level of athlete, just that you guys are going to be able to bring on campus. We talked about Coach Revelto a little bit. You briefly touched on his name. What is it like, for you as a younger guy? What's it like replacing a guy like Coach Revelto, who is a legend in his own right?
Yeah. Well, you can't ever replace a legend, and so and Coach Revelto is a legend, just in our sport, and he's a brilliant mind. And so what we have to do is just come in and focus on the process and invest our time and effort in these kids, to the best of our ability, and make the alums proud and make the previous coaches proud, and you look at DeLoss Dodds and and Steve Miller and then Coach Revelto, and then you look at the legends that have competed here. Look at Kenny Harrison, Olympic gold medalist. I mean, the guy's an absolute superstar. Eric Kennard,
absolutely.
in 2012 gold medalist, and Ostra, who's a two-time Olympic medalist. And it's just we want to make those alums, we want to make those previous coaches, as well as the fans. We want to make everybody proud, and so yeah, we're not going to replace Cliff. You can't do that, but we're gonna give K-State everything we got.
I appreciate that answer. I mean, we had Cooper Beebe on before you, and obviously we talked about him being a part of the transition from Coach Snyder to Coach Kleiman, and I think you captured that well in the fact you can't replace him. Your job is to carry on the legacy, to make them proud, which I think is perfectly stated. What is your you're in like truly probably month 1, month 2 here maybe because you started a couple months ago, but I know you were all over the globe. So what are your goals for this track and field program over the course of the next 1, 3, 5 years? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. Well, right now we got to develop the roster that we have. We got a great group of kids that are working their tails off for us. And you can see improvement already in a month. And just I appreciate their instant buy-in. It's been absolutely awesome because change can be difficult for current student athletes, and these kids they're giving it their all for us, which is great, And then from there though, it's recruiting and continuing to bring in quality student athletes, both on the track and in the classroom, that can just help continue to elevate the program across all event areas. And so that's what we're doing right now. It's look, it's a whirlwind. We got a bunch this week and this weekend, and the staff is getting after it.
That's great. We're obviously this podcast is hosted by Wildcat NIL, so we got to bring up NIL. We see in the headlines every day what NIL is doing at the football, basketball, women's basketball level. How is NIL impacting track and field at your level, or how do you see it impacting your track and field program in the future?
Yeah, well, NIL is a part of track and field as well, and so when you look at it comparatively to football and basketball, you're not talking about the same amount of dollars. I know we all hear the stories about the crazy numbers with football and basketball, and good for everybody that's doing it. I think what's cool about track and field is that it doesn't take an insane number to make a huge impact on a program. And so with some of that investment, it can go a really long ways in the sport of track and field. And so we're excited about continuing to improve upon that and competing to win, man.
Yeah.
It takes all fronts in this ever-changing landscape of the NCAA. You got to figure it out.
Yep.
And here at K-State, we're going to figure it out, and we're going to compete. We're going to get after it, and in all the sports. The head coaches meeting the other day, you could see the intensity of all the head coaches across all the sports. It's a competitive group of people, and
it is.
I'm excited to be part of that.
It's an impressive bunch for sure. Now, obviously, the Manhattan community, the K-State community is still getting to know you, is still getting to know your staff. What can K-Staters, what can Manhattan do to help your program?
Well, I think talking to you guys, and obviously dollars do help. There's no doubt about it, and we appreciate the support across the board. So NIL is a factor, and so that communication and people that want to contribute to that, it's great. And then honestly, Curry, the other part of it is we got to finish this indoor. We finished this indoor, and there's a ton of doors that open for us as a program. And so I think those are the two main things right now, and it's on us to coach and recruit.
Yeah, well, I think I talk about it all the time. We're fortunate at K-State that ahead of NIL, we've really completed a lot of the facility upgrades that are needed, that were needed here. And so I think, there's now an ability to make sure that we're taking care of our teams from an NIL perspective, and also, hey, I need a couple more things done here to just take that next step. So I can't wait to see that happen for you and for your program. Last thing, give you the floor. Again, I know you've only had a couple opportunities to talk to the K-State community. What do you have to say to K-State fans? It could be anything. What do you have to say to them as the new track and field, director? Give you the mic here.
I think what I really want to say is thank you. Like, just to embrace our entire staff. Like, everybody here is awesome. You know, and I said it once before, and it's so simplistic to say it this way, but everybody's so nice. Like, everybody's nice. And Matt Clark, our strength coach, you know, he had a moving truck pull up to his house, and he was unloading the truck for 10 minutes, and then he said, and within 10 minutes, 20 neighbors showed up to help him unload his truck. He's got 3 little kids and his wife, and I mean, it's unbelievable. He's like, I lived in the same neighborhood for 12 years and I didn't know 20 neighbors before, you know? And so
it's amazing.
It's just an unbelievable community environment that is so genuinely appreciated by our entire staff, and you guys reaching out like to us, and it's just been, we've been so welcomed, and I really appreciate that.
Well, we're excited to have you guys and looking forward to the success of the K-State Track and Field program for years to come. Thank you for joining us. Got to give a shout out to Manhattan Brewing Company for hosting us all day long. Cody Eisern behind the camera. Cody has been out here for like 5 hours at this point. So huge shout out to Cody. But Coach, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Excited to have you and your staff at K-State. And again, really looking forward to the success that you guys are going to have.
We're pumped, man. We're pumped. EMAW.
EMAW, exactly
Yep.
right. That's
All
it
right.
for this episode of Cats Talk, hosted by Wildcat NIL. We hope you enjoyed this episode. K-State family, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Cats Talk, hosted by Wildcat NIL. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, or even leave a 5-star review. And please follow us on social media. Your support makes it so that these conversations are possible. If you're looking for more information on NIL, please visit www.catsnil.com. Thanks for your support, and go Cats.